I know exactly what you're doing. You're checking your phone, pretending you're not checking your phone. You're rereading messages. You're analyzing a conversation that ended 6 hours ago, like you're presenting evidence in a courtroom. You're telling yourself you're just excited, just interested, just curious. But deep down, you know something feels off. Because when someone takes longer than expected to text back, your mood changes. When an outcome feels uncertain, your brain refuses to let it go. And suddenly, a person, an opportunity, or a situation is taking up way more space in your mind than it has any business taking up. So let's talk about it, because desperation is one of those things that everyone judges and almost everyone experiences. And the funny thing is, desperate people are usually not desperate for what they think they're desperate for. They're not desperate for the person. They're desperate for certainty. Human beings are wired to seek predictability. Psychologically, uncertainty creates stress because your brain sees unanswered questions as unresolved problems. It wants closure. It wants answers. It wants a guarantee. So when somebody is inconsistent, unavailable, or unclear, your brain starts trying to solve them like a puzzle. That's why you can become obsessed with someone you don't even know that well. It's not always chemistry. Sometimes it's uncertainty, wearing a fake mustache. The thing that finally clicked for me was realizing that desperation is what happens when your emotional well-being becomes dependent on information you do not currently have. You need the text, you need the answer, you need the invitation, you need the outcome. And because you feel like you need it, you start acting from fear instead of confidence. Suddenly you're tempted to double text. Suddenly you're over explaining. Suddenly you're accepting crumbs because you're so focused on keeping the possibility alive that you've forgotten to ask whether the possibility is even that impressive. And can I just say something? Half the time, the person you're stressing over is not nearly extraordinary enough to justify the level of mental real estate they're occupying. I say that lovingly because I've been there. I've caught myself treating a man like he was the last bottle of water in the desert when objectively he was just a guy, a regular guy, a perfectly fine guy. But desperation creates scarcity. And scarcity creates distortion. You start acting like opportunities are rare, like connections are rare, like attention is rare, like people are rare. Meanwhile, there are 8 billion people on this planet. The issue isn't that opportunities are scarce. The issue is that you've temporarily forgotten your own abundance. Here's what confident people understand. They understand that disappointment is uncomfortable but survivable. That's it. That's the secret. They don't walk around believing they'll get everything they want. They walk around believing they'll be okay if they don't. That mindset changes everything. Because when you're no longer terrified of losing something, you stop gripping it so tightly. You stop trying to force outcomes. You stop chasing clarity from people who clearly enjoy being confusing. You stop auditioning for positions that should be offered freely. One thing I've noticed is that desperate behavior almost always begins in the imagination. You meet someone and immediately start imagining the relationship. You get an opportunity and immediately start imagining the future. You start falling in love with a story before you've gathered enough evidence to support it. Then, when reality doesn't cooperate with the fantasy, you panic. Now, whenever I feel myself becoming overly attached to an outcome, I ask a simple question. Am I reacting to reality or am I reacting to a story? Because reality is usually much calmer than the story. Reality says they haven't replied yet. The story says they're losing interest, you're embarrassing yourself, and you're going to die alone. Reality is often boring. The story is where the desperation lives. So if you want to stop acting desperate, stop making other people responsible for your emotional stability. Build a life that is so full, so meaningful, so genuinely enjoyable that one person's choices cannot hijack your entire day. Have goals, have plans, have hobbies, have friendships, have things that matter outside of whoever is currently occupying your thoughts. Because the less your world revolves around one thing, the less power that thing has over you. And I think that's what true confidence actually is. Not pretending not to care, not acting cold, not playing games. It's caring deeply while remaining rooted in yourself. It's wanting something without needing it. It's hoping for the best while knowing you'll survive the worst. It's understanding that your value does not rise when somebody chooses you, and it does not fall when somebody doesn't. And the second you truly understand that, desperation starts disappearing on its own. Because desperate energy is not the result of wanting too much. It's the result of forgetting that regardless of what happens next, you still have the one person you'll be spending your entire life with, yourself. And if you're anything like me, that's actually excellent news. Love you no matter what.